Hey everybody, it's Kathryn Perry, the Big Vision Coach, and welcome to the Transformational Coaching Clinic live. And you may be watching this on Facebook or on YouTube as a replay. And I do check the comments and questions on both of those platforms. So if you are watching by replay, be sure and hit hashtag replay, and you can, hey, give me a shout out. Let me know, if it's something that's valuable to you, or you can ask your question and I'll be happy to answer it. Of course, I would really love it if you would go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell for any updates that are coming up. My commitment is to do this live coaching platform for a commitment of 8 weeks. And just so, one, I want to connect with my community, be of service, see if there's anything that you need that I can help you with, especially in the areas of mindset. But I'm also a small business coach and strategist, and I could help you with some practical marketing tips and some suggestions on where to look to get some help. So if you are watching right now on Facebook Live or even on YouTube, there is probably a prompt asking you to like StreamYard. And when you do that, that lets them know that you and I are having a conversation, and that gives you access to the chat bar. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of tune in here right now. I do want to remind you too that every Tuesday at noon Central Time, I host a live group called the Virtual Commanding Wealth Circle. And it's a mindset group, but it's also an educational group on helping people to shift their mindset and awaken to a greater potential that lives inside them. We all have this idea of these hopes, dreams, and desires that we want to accomplish. We've got this problems that we want to solve. We have these ideas about what's possible and not possible, but it's usually informed by our experience of ourselves in the past. And that is not always the most reliable marker for or measure for the truth of who you are, because really we are the sum total of the thoughts of other people and the feedback that we've received from the world. And so what I help people do is to come to a new decision point on, one, who do you want to be and what do you want your life to look like? This is so critical because very often we are just living by default and we're living in reaction. And honestly, we are walking around hypnotized. We are not even awakened to the beauty and the potential and the opportunities that surround us, because we are in the trance of our own stories about ourselves and our lives and our past and our suffering. And right now, there's a new story, a new character that's arrived on our horizon called a pandemic, and it has changed the world in the space of 8 weeks. Literally. It was already making a pretty good impact way back in December, but then as it traveled across the globe, it created a worldwide shift, and we are facing a greater challenge than ever before. And I definitely want you to know and understand something, that there is a power within you that is so great, that is greater than any obstacle that is before you. And number two, you're not in this alone. And the more that we can get together and be of support and witness the greatness and be encouragement and be the reminder to each other, and to a call into accountability and go, yes, we want something greater. We want something better. As we keep proclaiming that and witnessing that and calling that forth and making the decision to make it happen, then it's going to happen. There was a time that was very much like this, and what came out of that was, it was the bubonic plague that ravaged Europe, which was the entire world basically at that time. Not saying that other parts of the world didn't exist, but as far as what they considered the world, right, was all of Europe. and everything was devastated. But what came from that was the Renaissance, and we are at the start of an incredible Renaissance. And what I'm here to help facilitate is the Renaissance and the awakening in you. And if there's anything I can do to be of help with that, I want to be of service to that. That I feel like that's my job, is to be a helper and encourager in the world. So if there's if you have any questions, if you haven't done it yet, be sure and like StreamYard and say hi. I see we've got a couple of people on, and if there's any questions that anybody have, that I'm here to help. There's been a kind of an interesting conversation that's been going on with my clients, and a lot of people are going through this, that there's this kind of feeling of malaise and tiredness. Some of them feel completely overwhelmed by what's happening in the outside world, but they also feel this, I'm hung up, I don't know what to do. And so they're kind of going into this behavior of being depressed. A lot of people came into this space of, hey, I'm going to take advantage of this time. I'm going to build that website. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to, eat well. And they found out that all that didn't necessarily happen, because what was stopping them before actually had nothing to do with the busyness in their lives. It had to really do with their belief system. Their belief system was primarily around themselves and their own authority. So I want to just invite you today to think about something in a new way. I want to kind of give you a little help here on how to shift that thinking. How can you shift yourself out of that funk? Now, some people, they kept working all the way through this time. In fact, some are working harder than they've ever worked in their life. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been deemed the essential worker and has given above and beyond. And, especially our healthcare workers, we can talk about our police and the firefighters, all the first responders. But now we're seeing that it's been the delivery people and the grocery store people, and a lot of people in this lower, what we could call the lower echelon, which I come from, by the way. I come from a proud working class background. And really seeing what is essential and important about them and their true value in our society and their real role, that there is no small job and there's no job that is unimportant. And so I do appreciate the fact that they're getting the recognition that they deserve. And they deserve all of our appreciation. They deserve more than pizza. They deserve raises. They deserve to be able to have some time off and health care and all these other things. And it is my aim, through my vote and through the actions I take, is to help make that happen. Okay. And I hope you are too. But what have been coming in with people, and as they're talking, it's really, they're not operating in their own authority. They, number one, have not made a clear decision about what they want and what that outcome is. They say, yeah, I want to do that. And it's kind of this unfixed point. And they did not make a clear decision, declarative within them, that yes, this is happening and here's the consequence if I don't have it. And then what is my plan of action? So they didn't put it on their calendar. The whole Netflix binging, shopping, staying up too late threw everybody off of their schedule. Our whole routine is disrupted, and you need to understand that you're unwinding all of this, your regular routine. You've been in this energetic field, and all of that's unwinding, and this is unwinding at a deep cellular level. The other thing is that you need to really know and understand is that we are incredibly stressed and we are traumatized. And this is the first time ever, usually life kind of will knock us off the beam a bit so that we can recover. But right now is the time that we really have to be present to the level of stress that's inside of us. And so if you are tired and you're sleeping and you're finding you're resting and you want to be in the sunshine, or you just want to be with yourself and you're thinking about things in a deeper way, that is really serious, important work. It's not less important than, getting your website up. Your body is recovering just like the earth is recovering right now. Okay. This is years of stress and trauma and overwhelm on your body that's letting go right now. All right. But having said that, I want to, how can we tie that back to this decision point? Like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. Well, one, making the decision is going to be really key. Making a commitment on that decision, putting it on your calendar and making it real. But then you have to align to the greater good that it can serve. Not just, I want to clean up this mess because I'm sick of living like a pig. That's pretty good, right? But when you align it to a higher purpose, to a greater good, when you do that, this creates an activation in your brain. Did you know that? And this unlocks skills, abilities, attributes, and it shifts your energy from conservation into expression. So that's what's happening. Excuse me, my phone's ringing right now. I'm trying to turn that off. And it kind of gives you this extra pep and energy. And so if you've been a follower of mine for a while, you'll hear me say, like, okay, when I'm ready to make money, the first thing I do is clean my house. Why? Well, one, I'm taking an immediate action, and then I'm making room for something good to come in. I'm associating some ordinary thing to an extraordinary outcome. Okay. And then that puts me in that action mode. And then it's easy to take that next action. So everything I'm doing while I'm cleaning house aligns to the action that I want to take. That's how I move myself naturally into what I want to do. Okay. So very often we're trying to start from this 0 point into this full action, like let's say exercise. And it's really a lot easier to replace that action or to start another action like I do and move that into the next action. Okay. So if you're finding that you're in inertia, the number one thing to do is one, I'm going to just recap, acknowledge that you need a rest and you are shifting gears and that takes work and energy. Do not make yourself wrong. Don't criticize yourself. Don't put yourself down. Don't yell at yourself for what you have not done. It is done. It's over with. Okay. The next thing is make that decision. Make that decision to take the action. And then when you do it, commit to an action and put it on the calendar and make it real, as if, just like when you had your work schedule or when you go to the doctor or you have any other type of appointment, you have to give importance to that. Okay. And then you want to create motion somehow. And if you are in some bad habits and you want to replace them with good habits, it's a lot easier to start with replacing habits rather than cut everything off and have a whole new clean slate. Okay. Unless, like smoking or that type of stuff, there's been studies both ways that cold turkey works best. And for some, it's better to taper off and start replacing. Right. So you're going to have to find out what works best for you. But what works best for my clients, and I've seen over the years, is to start replacing behaviors. So an example of that would be, let's say that you've been spending a lot of hours on Netflix. And go ahead and tell the truth about how many hours you're on Netflix. You go, oh, wow, I've been on Netflix for 7 hours today, and I've been watching an awful lot. Well, of those 7 hours, what could happen if you just said, okay, I'm going to take 1 hour that I'm giving to Netflix, and I'm going to go ahead and crack open that course that I bought, tune into Udemy or Teachable. If I, committed to learning something new, that I can apply to my life? What is something I can do? Now, literally right now, Ivy League colleges and at all different types of levels, MIT, believe it or not, they've made their courses free online. Now you may not get a may not get the degree, but you can certainly get the applicable learning and the benefit and the joy of learning. So start replacing those hours. If you say, well, after dinner, I like to just sit down, I'm so tired, and then figure out how much time do you actually just hang out and rest after dinner. What I found works for me, because I'm incorporating more walking, is hey, after dinner, I usually like to kind of sit and rest a little bit, let my dinner settle. Well, maybe that's 30 minutes to an hour. But I said, how hard would it be to do a 15-minute walk? And that's about the time it takes me to walk like a big square block, like 4 square blocks, 15 to 20 minutes. Think that's going to be better for my heart and my health and my mindset? Sure. So I'm replacing sitting with walking. But even the days that I can't necessarily do that 15 minutes because I have asthma or maybe there's weather. Right now we're having a lot of heavy pollen days, and where I live there's fields and there's like this dust storms are kicking up now. So what can I do instead? Well, there's things I can do in the house. I got into chair exercises and yoga and stretching. But instead of just sitting, I replaced it with a positive behavior that I want to start incorporating. It takes about 8 weeks to do that. They say 21 days, but it's really about 8 weeks. How can we do it faster? With the one command. And why can using the process of the one command make it faster? Well, because right now the way everything is set up through a habit, and the habit came from a decision that you made before, and it could have been a default decision, or it could have been something you did intentionally, or you had to do reactively. But however you came to that decision, you had a good reason. It's a creation. Okay. You created whatever situation you're in. Isn't that great? And you start with blessing your creation. And when you do that, one, that starts to create some emotional detachment. That starts to aligning you back to what your intention is. Okay. And when you're doing that, you're starting to already shift your neurology. With the process of the one command, walking you through the 6 steps to theta, what we're doing is we're naturally taking you to where you are taking like your neurology that's running all the systems and the habits and the protocols and running all those stories, running everything, comes into a natural pause. That happens when you roll your eyes up. Everything becomes quiet. Then as you start imagining that you are traveling up, you're going higher. Well, we're just engaging the brain. We're tricking that ordinary thinking mind into just paying attention to something else. So it starts to detach from ordinary reality. But by holding your eyes up, and your brain, what happens is as you start picture visualizing or imagining that you're going up higher, your brain waves actually start slowing down and getting lower. Okay. And as it starts slowing down and getting lower, then this good feeling and this peace and ease start happening. Then what happens, it's easier to accept suggestions and you're in a state of well-being, and it's easier to let negative thoughts, habits, and ideas go. And as we do this, all this shift is able to happen at a much more rapid rate than simply visualizing alone. There's some other things that really happen to this, because as you come to this state of detachment, then you start connecting to a greater field of intelligence, and that field is the quantum field. And then in this quantum field, you're no longer your ego-driven story. You're no longer the story of the pain of your past or your loss. You're not the person who's a struggle. Your identity is simply that of I am. Isn't that beautiful? And then from that I am state, you're able to move over and witness yourself and look at your life and yourself through these loving, accepting eyes. And you're able to get some clear information that One, even if it's difficult or hard, or you've got to tell a hard truth to yourself or take some responsibility for some things that you did or didn't do, it's a lot easier to do it because you don't have that weight of shame, and you don't have all of that judgment, and you don't have all that guilt that you have to try to work through and overcome. It is what it is, and you are able to recognize that you have created it, and just like you had the power to create it before, you have the power to create something new. Then, in the statement of the one command itself, is a very powerful statement, because the statement is, I don't know how. Then we state what it is that we want. I only know it is so now, and I am fulfilled. Well, we're speaking directly to the unconscious mind. Number one, when we say, I don't know how, the brain goes, oh, I don't, and it opens itself up. It makes itself ready to receive some new information. Okay. And it goes, oh, well, I don't know. And you think, well, no, I know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm not doing it. But here's the thing, if you really did know how to do it, wouldn't you be doing it? If you really did know how to motivate yourself, if you really did know how to have a clear vision of exactly what to do and knew what those steps were, and you knew how to engage yourself and how to pull to you the right helps and create the right systems, or whatever it is, if you really and truly knew how, you would be doing it. There is a missing piece. So your mind is already saying, okay, there's something stopping me. I haven't been able to figure it out. And the thing is, in our ordinary thinking, we cannot possibly know what level of consciousness we're operating from. And we really don't know what our true belief operating system is. We have some ideas when we examine our beliefs and our values, when we think about our morals and how we want to operate in the world, but there are some deeper unconscious beliefs that are literally stopping you from taking action, stopping you from getting out of your own way. And those limiting beliefs are there to serve you and to keep you safe. So we don't even judge them. Okay, we just know that whatever reason that you decided that was true, that it was just a mistake in your thinking based on what you felt was available to you at the time. And at any point, you have the right and the power to make a new decision and to take a new action. And you can even change how you perceive your past. When you do that and you release yourself from the prison of being in the story of the victim, or having to be the one who saves everyone, or the one that no one listens to, or any of those millions of stories of how we tell ourselves, position ourselves inside of our story, when we release from that, we're allowed to love ourselves unconditionally, and all these different parts of us that have gotten frozen and that we lose access to start to release and naturally integrate. That brings us into a state of wholeness. So when we're in this state with our eyes rolled up, and we just make that first statement, I don't know how, because we've made a decision on what we want to do, right? What we want to create, attract, or manifest. I only know it is so now. Now, that languaging is very intentional. It is so now. I'm making that decision. We're speaking directly to our unconscious mind, and we're just telling the universe from the position of our authority as creators in our world that it is to be so now. This is what I want. We're actually speaking to that guiding part of our own brain. I don't know how. I generate $50,000 a month income. I don't know how my body is healed. I don't know how I have clarity of vision. I don't know how I absolutely can know and trust on every level of my being that I have everything I need in order to thrive and to create a better life than ever before. Wow, what a powerful way of thinking, right? I don't know how I could possibly ever do that when there's all this evidence, right? Contrary. There's all these other ideas that we're being told. So when we say, I don't know how, we state what we want. I only know it is so now, and it's now because in the unconscious mind, there's no next week, there's no 15th of the month, there's no other time beyond this moment. Okay, so if you think about, well, wait, I want to make sure that my bills are paid by the 1st or the 15th and I don't have any money. Well, in your unconscious mind, there's no difference in the 1st or the 15th. The time you are worried about it is now. When do you want to have clarity and peace of mind on it? Now. When do you want the solution to arrive? Now. Right? So why put that off until some arbitrary date in the future? You want to have a sense of confidence and peace right now that whatever it is happening, whatever it is that you need, is absolutely going to be taken care of. Now, we have so many, you have to pardon me when I talk about the one command. I'm used to speaking in terms of working with Asara Lovejoy, who's the author and the creator of the process called the One Command, and I run seminars called Commanding Wealth. And so I worked with Asara for many years and taught the seminars, and my habit of speech is to say we, but actually I'm the one who holds the seminars called Commanding Wealth. So let me get clear on that. But I have so many clients who have experienced the power of the one command, and overnight money showing up, big refunds occurring. One lady said that she wanted to test out the one command for a week, and she knew that she wanted to see $500 come into her bank account. And she had no idea how that could happen. In fact, I'd just given the suggestion that, well, it could come in an unexpected bonus. You could have a new client sign up. You could get a refund. There's all kinds of things. Or there could be a bill that you were expecting that suddenly you're not charged for. The $100 can show up. And she's like, well, any one of those would be great. And it turned out every one of those wound up happening. She got a bonus from work. She wasn't really actively marketing her business, but someone asked if they could work with her on solving a particular problem that she was skilled in dealing with. And she got a refund from her insurance company, and then a big bill that she was expecting to pay, they suddenly gave her. I don't remember if they gave it to her for free or she wound up with a $500 discount, but it was every possible way, right? So she just was holding that intention of getting that $500. Whatever it is that you are needing, if you need it, it is possible, and it is absolutely, let me reframe this. If you need it, the solution also exists in equal and opposite measure. Okay. If you need it, it already exists in equal and opposite measure. But right now it's invisible to you. Okay. Based on your thoughts and your programming. Okay. So we don't know how my bills are paid in full, in time and on time every month. I only know it's so now. I don't know how to have a new level of belief about what's possible. I only know my belief is growing every day and the results are following. Isn't that fun? So you can do that. Then we say, I only know it is so now, as I said before. Why? Because in the unconscious mind is now. Then we add, and I am fulfilled. And we add this, and I am fulfilled because of this state of being that we want to be in. Okay, as it arrives. If today, if let's say you had a big need for $20,000, it could be to something for your business or for your health, or you need to take care of something in your home. We don't know why. Maybe you just said, I'd feel a lot more comfortable if I had $20,000 in my bank account right now. And you need to have that sense of security, and you need to see that you have the power to create change, right? So, because you had the idea to do it, you wouldn't even be able to get the idea unless it were possible. Okay, it wouldn't even be able to come into your field of reference or anything else. See, even if you just said, well, I saw somebody else got that and I want it too, you wouldn't have even been able to be aware of somebody else having it if it was not possible for you. Isn't that good news? So right now we don't know how, right? So you would say, I don't know how. I have $20,000 in my bank account. Eyes up. I only know it's so now, and I am fulfilled. When we say am fulfilled, one, we're saying we know that there's going to be some challenges, there's going to be some learning, there may be some things that we have to face in order to do it. But whatever it is that we go through, it is going to be worth it. And I'll be better for it. Okay. And so we want to have that good feeling. That money did suddenly appear in your bank account out of the blue. How would you feel? Grateful, thrilled, delighted, right? You'd feel excitement. So we want to create that good feeling. And what we do is we go ahead and just go into this space of actively receiving. And as we receive, we're actively receiving, we're creating this field of gratitude and appreciation around us so that that activates the mind. And then we start getting these new thoughts, images, and ideas. And then as that starts coming in, this starts shifting our neurology. And the more often we do that and impress upon the brain, then this becomes our normal state of thinking, feeling, and being. Okay. And we get into the practice of being someone who is happy and successful and fulfilled, and all the evidence of that starts to follow. Okay. So I hope that this has been helpful today. I'm noticing, um, there we go. I'm not having any questions come in, so I'm just assuming that life is good for you in your corner of the world. I just want to remind you about the Facebook group, and that's every Tuesday. And we have that in the TOC Money Mindset Mastery Group on Facebook, but I also put a link in the description so that you can register directly for the circle and get access to that. I host it on Zoom. It's very easy. And then I share the recording here on YouTube and in the Facebook group. Okay. And if this has been useful today, do me a favor. Let me know, hashtag replay, and just let me know what you think. And of course, be sure and hit that subscribe button. Okay. And then if you um, are needing some help and support on, hey, what are going to be these next steps that I can take? If you really are needing some help on getting some clarity on what you could possibly do to, one, meet this great challenge. And there's going to be some practical aspects that you need to get help and support on. Maybe there is some worry or stress that you're going through and you haven't been able to quite shake it. Well, you know what? Just book a call with me. It's 30 minutes. It's free. We'll have a conversation. A lot of times people say they feel better just by having a conversation with me. And then if it turns out I think that you're a good fit for me and that I could help you, we could talk about what it would look like for us to work together, and we'll go from there. But mostly, I want to be of service to you and find out how I can help. So, my friend, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Until next time, this is Kathryn Perry, the Big Vision Coach, and I witness your mastery. Bye bye. Hit that button. Hit that button.